I'm Fiona McLaughlin, and today I will be going over my work in progress number 7 with the title The Effects of Food Waste on the Economic and Health State of Communities Influenced by Major Food Franchises and Possible Green Solutions. So to put this into perspective, about 1/3 of all the food produced in the United States is wasted, and this could be because of improper disposal or storage at the seller, producer, or consumer level, and this costs the United States about $162 billion in food production costs and leaves 1 in every 8 households food insecure, meaning that they do not know where their next meal is coming from. Due to the large amounts of food being disposed of, food is actually the #1 component in municipal landfills, and it's the 3rd largest producer of methane in the United States. And as you can see from this graph, with landfills being gray and combustion and compost being the blue and orange, while landfills have still increased in use, compost and combustion have also increased, but there's still a lot of work to be done. So one of the components that I looked into was the misconception of sell-by dates, and 30% of the food that is being wasted in the United States is actually due to a confusion between use-by and sell-by dates. Many companies do not realize that sell-by food or food past the sell-by date still has freshness and can be used. It just has a shorter shelf life. And so food past the sell-by dates is not desirable in food vendors, grocery stores, any of those places, so it's generally just sent to a landfill. But the USDA and FDA are currently looking into a universal date that will basically eliminate a sell-by date. And so this leads me into the next subtopic, which is food donation policies. And right now I am looking into 3 main laws: the Internal Revenue Code, which encourages the use of incentives in countries such as the United States for federal governments to offer subsidies to restaurants that try to donate their food, as well as the Bill Emerson Good Samaritan Food Donation Act, which takes away liability from any restaurant or grocery store that donates their food. Just in case someone were to get food poisoning from any of their donations, they would not be able to be sued. As well as the Federal Food Donation Act, which pushes grocery stores or restaurants to sign contracts with local food banks to donate their food in the future, so that they are basically forced to donate their food. And finally, I looked into possible solutions such as the incorporation of smart technology, and these could be things such as smart Tupperware, which tracks how long a food has been, or some food has been, in the refrigerator or being stored, and it basically tracks its freshness, as well as a smart scale, as you can see here, that will track the amount of food being wasted every day. So basically, restaurants could put the extras or leftovers onto that scale, and then they can track the amount of food they are disposing of every day. As well as the comparison of foreign food waste initiatives in countries such as France, Sweden, and Germany, which have seen the largest decrease in food disposal in the last 5 years, as well as state summer food service programs in states such as Montana, Alaska, and Florida. For example, Montana has a program where grocery stores donate their food that is past the sell-by date to local food banks, and these food banks then make summer lunches for less privileged children when they do not have school lunches to support them. This then leads me to my research question: to what extent do current food waste policies have an impact on reducing food waste in major chain grocery stores, and how can new technologies and international policies effectively be implemented into American law? And I suspected that more state-sponsored programs and the increased use of smart technology would then decrease the amount of food in the United States. So for my gap, I would be evaluating the use of technology within the scope of food waste in these restaurants, using a phenomenological study as well as a comparison of successful food waste programs in European countries using a content analysis. So for the content analysis, I will be analyzing annual reports from Arby's, Burger King, and Chick-fil-A, seeing how their amounts of food waste have changed over the past 5 years, as well as new technologies added and things like that, as well as the comparison of federal initiatives in European countries, as I was just talking about, because they use programs such as a daily donation truck, which basically goes around to grocery stores and restaurants every day in smaller towns and picks up extra and leftover food to bring to food banks, as well as their requirements for food donations, which are generally different than the ones in the United States. For my phenomenological study, I use free response surveys, and I sent these to Arby's, Burger King, and Chick-fil-A, the three companies that I mentioned earlier. And I used 10 free response questions that pertain to technology within the company and their opinions on current food waste and donation laws, as well as their perspective on the company's disposal of food, just to see how they believe that their company could change from an insider perspective. And these are my references. Thanks, Mr. Henry.